Please allow me to stand on the protocol that has already been observed, singling out, of course, the Chancellor and the Chair of Council, the Vice Chancellor, all the distinguished guests, and of course the wonderful graduating class of 2025. Good morning. It's such a great honor to be here with all of you. Cavendish is not new to me, and I see so many of my friends here that I've met over the years. I've actually taught a class at Cavendish, so some of you might have attended that class. Are there any in the room who attended my class, who are graduating? You could lift your hands. I don't see any, but I did teach a class on innovation at Cavendish when I was visiting. Well, just looking at you and how smart you look, there are certain words of scripture that come to my mind right now, that you are wonderfully and fearfully made. You're wonderfully and fearfully made. You look beautiful. It almost reminds me of when a baby is born and the joy, the wonder at this creature that has just come into the world, and everyone's wondering, what will this child become? You know, unto us a child is born, and there's so much hope and expectation and just sheer wonder at this beautiful creature that has suddenly emerged. Well, that's kind of what I see right now in all of you, because in a certain sense, you have just emerged into a new world. So those of us who've been in it for a while, the adults in the working world, we just see this new creature that is being born today, that is looking so wonderfully and fearfully made, so beautiful, and we can't help but wonder, what will you become? What will you do? 5 years, 10 years from now, will we be reading about you in the newspapers? Will we be watching you on television or social media? What will you be accomplishing in the next few years? It's with a sense of wonder that we look at you today and a lot of expectation, just thinking of what you will do. Now I want you to dwell on those words a bit longer, just linger on it, that you are wonderfully and fearfully made. Wonderfully, you have lots of talents. Fearfully, because you could use it for good or evil. You could do anything with such power. There's nothing wrong with power, by the way. Power is a good thing, but you can use it for good or evil. When you think of nuclear power, what an amazing discovery. You can use it to heal people, to power entire countries, or you can use it to destroy entire societies. It's entirely up to you. You're wonderfully and fearfully made. I once read a book that asked the question, where are the richest people in the world? And of course, you know, the author gives you time to think about it. And you're thinking, are they in Beverly Hills, in Hollywood? Where are they? Are they in Rhode Island, in the United States? Where are these richest people? And then the author reveals to you that they're actually in the graveyard. That if you go to the graveyard, you'll find the richest people ever. And as I was trying to unpack this, what is this author talking about? He goes on to write, I guess it's an apocryphal story, it never really happened, or who knows, maybe it did happen, where somebody shows up to heaven, and you know the gatekeeper is Saint Peter, so this person is welcomed into heaven, and Peter is showing him around heaven, so this is heaven, this is where the VIPs are, this is I don't know what, and then he says, and that man is the greatest general ever. And this historian who has just been welcomed to heaven is saying, what? I've never heard of him. He says, of course you wouldn't. He had the capability to be the greatest general that ever lived, but he just never did it. He did not discover his talent. He did not nurture it. He did not discover his mission. And there he is, the greatest general that never was. And that's what happens in a graveyard. People with incredible talent, with immense power, who tragically never discovered their capabilities, never identified their calling, never lived it. They could have been the richest people, the greatest people, but they lie dead in the graveyard. And let's hope that that's not what's going to happen to many of us today, that it'll be a different story. Let's come back to those words, "You're wonderfully and fearfully made." Am I making this up? Am I just using nice words, making you think well of yourselves, stroking your egos, but it's not true? No, I can see it. I've seen it so many times. That's why I love education. That's why I'm in education, because I see these people walk in, very fearful, unsure of themselves, and then after 4 years, 3 years of a certain process, they come out with much more confidence. They come out having discovered themselves, having skilled themselves, and now ready for the mission. I've seen it happen over and over again. And I see you now getting ready to go out into the world, maybe not knowing just how powerful you are. You just haven't discovered it. But if you do, it'll be a different story. I'll tell you something that happened on one of my trips to Uganda. I love coming here. My sister, Christine, maybe Christine, you can wave to them, you can stand and wave. And her husband, Emmanuel, Ima, please stand and wave to them. So I come to Uganda quite often. And on one occasion, and I love students, David Mutabanura here always catches me talking to students. So I had a session with a group of students. Most of them were from Makerere because it was near Makerere. And then I asked them, if I give you 10 items to memorize, every 2 seconds I mention another item until they reach 10. How many do you think you can give back to me? And most of them said 5, 6. There's one who said, I think I could do 7. And then I told them, okay, what if I tell you that you could give me all 10? All 10 of them. That it's not that difficult. Like anybody can do it. It's a secret power we all have. You just don't know how to activate it. You could do it. Then they sort of looked at me and marveled and said, that would be amazing. Then I said, oh, you think that's impressive? What if I told you you could give them back to me in the same order that I gave them to you? Number 1 is number 1, number 2 is number 2, all the way to number 10 is number 10. You give them to me in perfect order. Do you think you could do that? They said that would be really, really difficult. And I said, oh, you think that's impressive? What if I tell you you could give it to me backwards? You recite them backwards, forwards and backwards. They were very impressed at this point. And then to cap it all, I told them, and you could actually give me any of the items, and I'll tell you the one immediately ahead and the one immediately before. They were super, super impressed at this point. And they said, no, this isn't possible. So I said, try me. I didn't script this. You come up with the items, and one of you can be the secretary, you appoint whoever, and we do it right now. So they did it, and within 2 minutes I gave them the 10 items, all 10 in perfect order and backwards, and no matter which item they asked me, I could tell them which one came before and which came after. So they said, wow. And I said, I don't know why you're so impressed. This is actually a normal thing that anyone's brain can do. You just don't know how to do what I just did. They said, could you show us? I said I could, but how long do you think it would take me to give you such capabilities? So they start speculating, 1 week, 1 month. So I said, 5 minutes. I'm a teacher. Anything that I really understand, I can pass on to somebody else. That's the challenge of a teacher, to just transfer what I really understand to empower somebody else. It wouldn't take me more than 5 minutes. Then I explained to them what I had done. When I finished, I told them, you didn't know I was going to test you, but now I will. I have the list in my head, so I don't need the list that's written by your secretary here. So I'm testing you guys right now. What's the first item? They give it to me. The second, they give it to me. By the time they reached 10, I told them, you just did it and you didn't even know you were going to be tested. I literally wrote those items in your head by the way I explained it. You have that power now. And they gave it to me backwards, and they did everything I had just done. And I'll never forget this. One of them, who was from Makerere, just got up, started screaming, ran out of the room onto the street, and then came back. He couldn't believe he was so powerful. He had just discovered a part of him that he didn't know existed, but which I could see. Just as surely as I look at you right now, you're fearfully and wonderfully made. I know you have such capabilities, and many more. This is like a drop in the ocean. I'm just giving you a tiny, insignificant example of the kind of capabilities you have. Now, some of those capabilities have been given to you right here at Cavendish. You have a lot of knowledge, a lot of skill. You just might not know how to deploy them, how to switch them on and get them working, how to put them at the service of a company, a nation, a society. You just might not know how to turn it on. That might be the only missing factor. But if you learn how to do that, you are really powerful. So you might think you know yourself, but remember Socrates, his first lesson, anytime somebody came to him and said, teach me, he would say, know thyself. Start by knowing yourself. And I'm inviting you to discover what I can already see in you. And I know it's just latent. It's just sitting in there. It's a giant waiting to be aroused, to be woken up. And you just need to discover it. But I have some bad news for you as well. There are some things that could stop you. And this is a big one. There is one thing that could stop you and maybe even turn you into a beast instead of a giant. Instead of being a force for good, you could be a force for evil if you don't get this one lesson. And that one lesson is the word values. Values will make you or break you. Thank you. Thank you for clapping. We think we know what values are, but I'm a teacher. I do not assume anything. You might have missed the point. You might have a different definition in your head. Have you ever asked yourself why we talk about values? Why do companies and organizations, institutions talk about their core values and put it up on a plaque somewhere saying, these are our core values? Why do they do that? Is there a special magic in those words? Do they have a special power? What is it about values that makes them so important? And I put it to you that yes, there is a kind of magic in the word values. If you know how to unlock it, remember, there are many secrets we're discovering today. If you properly understand what values are, you can unlock the secret in the word values and become, I would claim, all powerful. This is serious, guys. This is dynamite if you understand what values are. I hope by now you're curious, because if you're not paying attention, it's your loss to begin with, and it's the world's loss. You could be one of those rich people in the graveyard that never was. So do pay attention to this. This is my definition. There are many definitions. You can pick whichever you think gives you the most meaning. But I think of values as a belief that is so deep, it literally controls the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you act. It's a belief that is so deep, it literally controls the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you act. You can't go outside those parameters. You have like a boundary. In my family, the way I was raised, we don't do certain things. Like, I cannot be caught for the life of me doing any of those things. I can't. Something inside me rebels and says, don't go there. You can't do that. We don't do that. We do not do anything like that. And that's a value. It's a belief that is so deep, you can't transgress it. You can't go outside the boundaries that it sets. And it's also something that propels you forward. It's not just preventing you from doing wrong things. It pushes you to do certain things. You know the story of the Samaritan and this person who's lying on the side of the road, and everyone is too busy to help him. He's been beaten up by thieves, and people are saying, well, I don't have time. He's not one of us. And they just walk on by. Until you get this person whose values tell him, this is a fellow human being. This could be me. I can't just walk by. Yes, it's true. I have urgent things to do. I have places to go. I have things to do. This isn't one of them, but this is clearly more important than anything else that I have to do. This is a fellow human being lying on the side of the road. I've got to do something. Why did that person do it? It's because his values were pushing him to do it. Like, how can you live with yourself and you neglected somebody like that? Values are pretty powerful. How do you make judgments? That's the thinking part. So you hear somebody made a lot of money, billions, because they came with this very clever way of stealing the money, and they can't be discovered. You're given that story, and they tell you how much the person makes per minute. Then as you hear the story, your brain will make a judgment. And ask yourself, what judgment did it make? Did it say, wow, that is so clever, I wish I could have thought of that? That tells you something about yourself, because that's the judgment you're making. You're judging that it's something admirable rather than something despicable. Like, I would never do that. Like, that is terrible, because they are robbing ordinary people, their hard-earned money and savings. And yes, the person gets rich very fast, but look at the lives that he or she is destroying. So if your mind doesn't make that judgment, it tells you something about your values, your deep beliefs. They're not deep enough for you to judge that as a bad action and to react emotionally, saying, that's terrible. I would never do that. That person ought to be in jail. You're angry, legitimately so, if you have the right values. But if your reaction is, gosh, wow, I wish that was me. I wish I could make that kind of money that fast. You're totally disregarding the lives that were destroyed in the process. You're looking at the brilliance of the process itself. That tells you about your values. And before you know it, you will jump from thinking and feeling to acting. You'll be that bad player using that serious potential you have in the service of evil, simply because you have the wrong values. So values are powerful because it's a deep belief. It's deep. It's not like a surface, skin deep kind of phenomenon. This is something that is deeper, literally controls the way you think, the way you feel, and therefore the way you act. Now I'm going to ask you a question. How many of you want to be rich? Do you want to be rich? Are you sure? You want to be rich? I told you I'm a teacher. I do not assume anything. Do you know what it means to be rich? There's a bit of a pause here. Who are the richest people? Okay, we said the ones in the graveyard, but I'll change that to those who are alive. Who are the richest people on the planet? Do you think you know them? You've read about them. Are you sure those are the richest people? Where does wealth reside? In what form is wealth conserved? Where is wealth? Let's get philosophical here. How rich are you right now? And where is that wealth? Is it the savings that you've made when you were in university, and I hope you did save some money? Is it the wealth your parents have? Is it a car that you have somewhere? Is it your iPhone? What is your wealth? How do you conceptualize wealth? What do you think it is? And I'm going to shake that definition. The wealth that I see is right between your eyes. It's right between your ears. That's where your real wealth is. It's inside of you. I could take away your iPhone. You could take away my phone. You could take away my car. You could take away all my savings, okay? I'm not challenging you to do it. I know you're clever enough to do it. You've got all the skills. Cavendish taught you all the skills you need to take everything I have. Not that they taught you to steal, but technically, you could grab everything I have. Would you have made me poor? No. Not at all, because that's not where my wealth is. If you were trying to make me poor, then you've used the wrong strategy. Because guess what? Anything you take that I have externally, I can build it again. I can go and earn it again. I can create a business. I can provide my services to somebody, add so much value that they pay me so much money that I'm back in the game. So you think you've stolen from me, you think you've taken my wealth, you have not. Because that's not where my wealth is. And that's not where your wealth is. Your wealth is here, right between your ears, and here in your heart. And with your hands and feet, the things you can do, that's your wealth. That's your real wealth. And so if you want to be the richest person on the planet, you will try to be the person with the greatest capabilities between the ears, with a heart as large as a mountain, with hands and feet and capabilities and skills that can do marvelous things. That's where your wealth is. You can see somebody who doesn't have that, and if they have a lot of external wealth and you take it away, now they become poor. They've lost all the money that their parents gave them in inheritance. They don't know how to build it. What a tragedy. They are now poor. But if they know how to build it, they'll just say, okay, I guess it's 2 steps back, 3 forward. I was going so well, I was doing so well, but they've set me back. No problem, I can build it again because I have it, it's inside of me. That's your wealth. I hope this is sinking somewhere. I hope you're learning something from this. And I'm going to ask my last question. Of all those things that you could acquire in this new list of items that constitute real wealth, which is the prize jewel? Which is the best of the best of the best? Of all those capabilities and knowledge and skills that you could acquire, what's the prize jewel? The best of the best. And I'll put it to you that it's your integrity. Let that sink in, please. It's your integrity. Let them take everything away from you, including your external and internal wealth, but this one thing you're not going to let go. Not this one. This one you're ready to die for. You understand me? You're ready to die for it because nobody's going to take it away from you. And somebody will come and tell you, I'll give you $1 billion if you do this. And you'll say, my values don't allow me to do that. It says, I'll double it, $2 billion, $3 billion, $10 billion. You're beginning to shake. Are you going to give up? Are you going to just give up and say, that money is too much? What I tell you to do is give everything up except that one thing, your integrity. This is your prize jewel. And if you lose everything, they take your property, they throw you in prison, they threaten to kill you. But history remains, you did not give in. You are a man or woman of your word. You are ethical to the end. That is the legacy that you do not want to lose. And remember, there'll come a point where people want to hire you not because you're technically good. There are many thieves who are technically good, but because you're trustworthy. When you give your word, that's it. Your word is as good as gold. That's what the saying goes. So my parting words to you is, you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Reflect on the power that you have. Chase after the right wealth, especially your values, your skills. Yes, you're a professional from now on. You're now joining the working world. But especially your values. And remember the crown jewel, never let go of it. Thank you very much.